do the sex.
Today's locker room talk and shots topic is kinky 2024 resolutions for a sexual revolution. Welcome to 2024, folks. Now, I imagine you are probably recovering from an amazing New Year's Eve, and maybe you've already put together some resolutions, but we want to make sure that our listeners do not forget to put together sexy resolutions that are going to enhance their sex life in the up and coming year. So I am here with Lucy, the Russian dominatrix, and my bestie. And we have decided our gift to you in the new year is that we are going to help you create a resolution that is a sex bucket list, that if you complete it in the year 2024, we guarantee you will have the best sex life you've had so far. Now, for our caged listeners, because I know you're out there, this one's for you too. But these resolutions really are going to span all kinds of sexual interests. So if you are a vanilla person who's like, I want to enhance my sex life, but I'm not interested in doing some of the crazy shit you talk about, that's fine. We are going to have some really good dip your toe in the water bucket list opportunities for you. So you can just kind of bump up your saucy vanilla sex life. For our advanced kinksters, I guarantee we're going to have some shit for you to try out. And again, for our caged listeners, we will make sure to put some fun stuff in there for you. And when you complete those tasks, if you want to, reach out and let Lucy and I know, we'll make sure to call you a good little boy or girl or person. Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Today,
yes,
Lucy and I are drinking Gatorade, but Lucy, for our new listeners, because we do actually have quite a few new listeners, can you really quickly give them the rundown about who you are? And if they haven't yet listened to some of your famous podcasts, will you let them know what they can tune into to find out more?
Totally. Yes. Hi, everybody. If you're new, welcome. We are so happy to have you. I am Lucy. I am the the resident dominatrix. I've been doing that for a lot of decade plus at this point. And some of the things that you want to listen to that I am in are the Cocks in a Cage. We did Peg the Patriarchy. We did Toys, 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 which I have hundreds of. Will come up later. What other? I feel like at this point we've done so many.
So many. So basically, if you want to know how to dominate someone, peg someone, beat someone, and consensually, certainly all of our chastity listeners,
for sure,
they probably already know you. There are a whole bunch out there. Mm-hmm. So
they're great.
And they're great. So you're going to want to scroll back and listen to those. But we are drinking Gatorade because we all need to hydrate to have good sex. So cheers. Let's talk about sex in the new year. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to launch into this first.
Right.
By letting you guys know you're putting trust in us to build your resolution sex bucket list. So we're going to give you sort of a rundown on our 2023 and how we're moving into 2024. Lucy, why don't you start?
So yes, 2023 was quite a lovely year. I have enhanced my harem. So now I have a couple of people that are my companions other than my original one companion. So now I have 2.5-ish.
It's a solid three cocks.
Yes, I have 3 cocks. They're very lovely, and they're all a little different, and they all are useful for one thing or another. So they enhance my life beautifully. Highly recommend. And I think we're going to be doing a podcast
on harems.
On harems, if you want to listen to it.
Yeah. So
probably next month.
right.
I
Yeah.
feel like it should be a Valentine's Day.
Oh, I love it. All right. So get ready, guys. In February of this year, we will be doing a harem building podcast in which we explain kind of what that is in case you don't know, and how Lucy not only has built but manages her harem.
Right? That's a list. Ugh.
All right. Well, my experience this year was quite the opposite. I went from having a regular long-term partner to being single. So, which is new. It's new. I did throughout the year dip my toe in the water of different experiences. If you have listened along the way, you know, I had an experience with swinging. I think I shared some sex club experiences. I definitely had some new experiences this year, but primarily and this came after, again, if you guys have been with me for a little while, you know that the previous year I did a 365 days of orgasms challenge in which I had an orgasm every day. I built up my libido. I really discovered a lot about my sexuality. And so, of course, I thought I was going to take all of that into 2023 and really use it and grow from it. But what ironically happened was kind of the opposite. I had a lot of also good experiences in 2023, but ultimately kind of ended the year on a low and realizing that I had lost a lot of my own sexual confidence and my own sexy energy and my belief in myself. And so I'm excited about heading into 2024 with you and creating the sex bucket list because I'm going to jump on board with you and do some of this work myself. And so some of the things we're going to put together, while they are going to be hands-on with partners, they're also going to be activities that you can do with yourself. Because right now, if you're following me, you know that every Monday I'm sharing my Masturbation Monday podcast episodes with you, in which I am creating a self-love, sexual relationship, masturbation practice with myself designed to enhance my life, which includes my health, my mental, physical, and emotional health, my libido, my self-esteem. I'm also using this practice to really try and create a life of an abundance and to help me draw the things into my life that I want, which are abundance in love, money, friendship, and
all the things.
All of the things. So if you want to join me for that, well, then maybe we can, for those of you who are single or don't have a partner right now, we can do some work together. So let's get your pens and paper out now because we are going to launch into a sex bucket list and give you ideas on all fronts of how you can try some of these different things. And hopefully by the end of the year, you'll at least have tried a little bit of each category. So there's going to be categories of activities, right? And with options from vanilla to like hardcore kinkster. Lucy is probably going to be taking the forefront on the hardcore kinkster. I will be the rest of us nurturing us along. So I want to start with, because it's the biggest thing I feel like I need to build right now, is sexual confidence. On your bucket list, we're going to have some activities designed to build sexual confidence. And the first thing I want you to put on that list is starting a masturbation practice. Now, you do not have to do 365 days of orgasms, but I want to challenge you to, at the very least, masturbate 1 day a week. At the very least, I would actually challenge you to really commit to 3, but at least 1 day a week, especially if you're not doing it at all right now, to masturbate. And I'm not saying knock it out. I mean like half hour of touching yourself at least.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to, for sure, have as much time as possible available for such an activity. And definitely do not rush it, because you are trying to relearn kind of your body, especially if you are recently out of a relationship. Your partner was kind of responsible for all that stuff. So now you're responsible, and you should kind of have always been responsible for that. So it is definitely a good, take your time, do the thing. 3 days a week is a good one,
I think 3 days a week. Scratch that 1 day a week, guys. Like, challenge yourself for masturbation 3 days a week. And I love what you said, that oftentimes we hand our pleasure over to our partners, and we give them the power to ignite our sexiness, to give us pleasure. And this has been mentioned this year in a podcast. Sexy is an inside job. Pleasure is an inside job. Your sexiness and your pleasure belong to you. And this masturbation practice is going to help you reclaim it. Now, if you're like, well, masturbation is masturbation, I need you to tune in to Masturbation Monday, because it's not. There are different ways to go about exploring your body and masturbating. There are definitely different tools and toys, though you don't need them. Certainly, hopefully, as the year goes on, you'll try some different tools, and I've got lots of recommendation, but this should be a pleasure practice of finding your body and the places that light up, and learning how to light up new places. This practice, out of everything we're going to talk about today, I think has the most potential for really altering and improving your sex life in 2024, because if you can do all the kinky shit in the world, but if you don't know how your body experiences pleasure, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah. And the other thing I did discover when I was doing my 365 days of orgasms practices, the more that you pleasure your body, the more new places in your body wake up to pleasure. I found my G spot for the first time. I found my A spot for the first time. For the first time in my life, having my nipples played with became a thing. Like, I love having my nipples sucked on when someone's doing the other stuff. And that's never been a thing in the past. And that's because my body is learning how to receive pleasure and wake up. So,
especially if your breakups this year were more traumatic, for whatever reason, obviously it's kind of how that works. You don't, most of the time you don't break up in a happy-go-lucky situation. And I think that when that traumatic experiences does occur, you also kind of lose the connection with your body. So rediscovering that, I feel like it's very important after such an event. So you can, be back in your body completely and 100%.
Absolutely. And so you become your primary partner, which I think is super important. You become your primary partner. And then if you get a new partner, you can teach them, you can teach them the things you know. But certainly a breakup, or even like any kind of grief or loss, can really cause your body's pleasure centers to shut the fuck down. I know mine. It was like a stadium light going off. Boom, right? I was like, where did she go? I can't feel anything. And so, anyways, that is, I think, our number one bucket list: masturbation practice. And also, send me messages. Let me know how it's going. Or if you have questions, I will be happy to answer. I will guide your masturbation practice. So, all right. So this next one we just had, I just uploaded an episode on Sex Talk 101. And I think that one of the simplest things you can do now, I know you're an old pro at this, Lucy. So when I said, let's do sex talk, she's like, but some of us, including me, sometimes when it comes to having to talk in bed, it's awkward. And I think one of the best things you can do if you want to just pump up your sex life a little bit, whether you are vanilla or kinky, is like build your sex talk practices. I'll give you one exercise that you can put on your bucket list if you're like someone who really struggles, or you're new to sex talk that was given to us by the professional Lisa Fenn, who was on that podcast, which she said you can practice sex talk when you're doing things like she likes when she's cleaning the house, like doing the dishes, like, you dirty plate, get in the water. I'm going to scrub you hard. You scrub yourself, you dirty little dish. God, that was actually not bad.
I know. So
Lucy,
what suggestions do I have?
Yeah.
So I think one of the one of the suggestions that I find helpful is just adopting some of the fabulous dialogues that some of the beautiful smutty literature provides you. If you have no idea what to say whatsoever, just copy the dialogues. And you don't even have to start out in a sexy situation. You can just pass the book back and forth and read the dialogues out loud. And at that point, it's slightly less awkward, I find, because you're just kind of reading a book. It's just a hot one.
yeah.
I think that's like a really good way to start if you have no idea and you just like kind of freeze. Dirty dishes not including, but yeah.
So adding reading, you could
Erotic literature
or to your partner.
to your partner or with your partner. You can alternate.
Or by yourself if you don't have
Or
a partner
also, yes.
yet. So when you have one, you're ready to say the things, read it out loud. And the final suggestion for enhancing your dirty talk this year is to listen. There is, I think she said Dipsy is one of the apps, but there are apps with smutty literature on them that you can listen to maybe while you're in the bath or maybe while you're doing your masturbation practice and start to like hear those dialogues and then be able to recreate them.
Even Audible has stuff. I know this because it's on my phone. They have some smutty stuff available for you.
Lucy and I will build a smutty book list for you.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Sign up for my e-newsletter, scroll down, sign up for the e-newsletter. We will send a list of smutty books to you and listening options. So look, you could kill 2 bucket list items with one stone. Reading literature, the smutty literature while masturbating or listening while masturbating. Damn, look at that. This works. Cheers to that. I love this bucket list so far.
There'll be more stuff. Don't you worry.
Yeah, don't you worry. So I am thinking that the next thing that we should talk about, this is an easy thing because you're probably already doing, let's talk about adding a little spanking to your sex life. And even vanilla folks, if you have never just swatted a butt or been swatted just a little bit, this is something you have to try. At least a few times. You can't just do it once too and be like, I don't like that. You got to like give it, like say, commit a month to like, look, we're going to try adding spanking. Maybe let's really commit to giving it a try, whether it's a light spanking or whatever. You can take turns trying it on each other. And then if you're just like, it's not my thing, fine. But it's a sexy assignment.
Sounds like plan. Remember, when you are trying the spanking, make sure you are excited already. Do not just whack your companion in your partner in crime without any sort of foreplay / arousal, because that is unpleasant and just hurts.
I've totally had that done to me.
What the heck? Don't do that. That is a horrible idea. Make sure they're super aroused and then give them a spanking. And as you know from a number of, at this point, the spanking ones, you can use all sorts of utensil type things and hairbrushes and spatulas.
And hands for vanilla people. I'm going to say, all right. So for vanilla people, start with your hands. And this also is a great, gently. Oh yes. Also, do not just start really hard. No. Start with like a nice warming spank. Again, I have a podcast on that. I had a professional disciplinarian. Go back and listen to it. You start, and she even really walks you through how to start that spanking. It's also a great time to practice your dirty talk.
True. You've been a bad boy.
Or girl.
Or girl. That's true. Human. Bad human.
I think it's funny you went to bad boy and I was like, wait a second.
Yes.
I'm a bad girl. But no, it is a great place to, just say, you've been a very, very dirty little boy. It's time to bend over. Girl. I mean, I want to hear girl.
Right.
And practice those scripts. But all right, so if you're already someone who gets spanked, Lucy, let's up the game. You were talking about utensils.
Well, I mean, if you're upping up the game, just go buy yourself some actual tools. Canes are great, which are my favorite, and easier to use than other things. Whips become more complicated because they're wobblier and can hit areas that should not be hit with a whip. And if you are one of the people who kind of enjoys bruises, though, those will bruise a lot faster. Because my companion enjoys a little bit of the bruising on the butt, because every time then he sits down for the next couple of days, up to a week, you remember all the fun stuff you were having and doing. So it's like a nice reminder for you to do. And let's see, floggers are really good starting tools as well, because they're a lot more gentle. So you can start with those. And I think we even did you can probably find it online, like a little macrame version of a flogger type situation.
What about
paddles as well are great, but those can be substituted with hairbrushes and stuff like that.
Start using home utensils. But what about now for someone they've really been into spanking and they've got tools? Can we talk about some sexy situations for spanking that might be new?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite spanking situation is to be sitting on the other person's face and gently hitting their thighs with a cane. I think that's a really good one.
Oh, I've never thought of that.
Because then you are getting pleasure. And they're also aroused because they're obviously giving you pleasure, or they should be aroused because they're giving you pleasure. If they're not, they're doing it wrong. And then, it's very enhancing to have kind of your thighs hit. And then you also experience this fabulous moaning into your pussy situation, which is very exciting, let me tell you.
It sounds like it. For people who are advanced spankers, and you're like, all right, I've been doing this for a while, but you kind of want to mix it up. I think looking at new situations, areas of the body, and scenes, right? Like getting creative with scenes with spanking. So, if your partner likes more of a daddy experience, mommy experience, figuring out how to make it new in that way. If it's more of a slave experience. Yeah,
or like a schoolgirl experience. You can put it, you don't have to be a woman to be a schoolgirl. You can put any companion into a skirt, and then occasionally, or you can assign them a chore and assume that they were doing it very well, and then you can give them spankings as they're washing the dirty dishes.
Washing the dirty dishes and talking dirty to them.
Yes.
Wow.
I think that's a
great one.
Or a maid outfit. Those are always really fun to do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you can follow them around and they can be your maid for the day. And when they don't do the chore that you assign to them properly, you can give them a little spanking.
Oh, so they're bare naked with the maid outfit on, and you can just swat at them.
Or an apron. You don't even have to have a naked apron time is also fun, because then everything is accessible for spanking.
I love that. What about, I think something else that could be fun for spanking is having someone be a human footstool or ottoman and setting maybe your drink on their back and then your feet up, and every once in a while using a crop to smack their ass. I have never done this, but oh my God, what a great idea, huh?
I swear, I thought I said that one of my other...
Probably. Damn it.
I definitely remember saying because I've done it.
Here I thought I was being unique. You're feeding my imagination.
I think that's the point.
All right.
We're doing great.
Someday maybe I'll experience that. Anyways, I've never done that. But so great ideas. And this leads me to the next category. So look, category spanking. Try one of the many things we've listed. A, for beginners, just try using your hand or upping the tools that you're using. Expand, learn how to use a flogger, learn how to use a cane, learn how to, because they all are different. And floggers especially take some, from my experience, learning on how to swing them properly.
Because they're flaily. You have to be more precise and be mindful of hitting anything that you're not supposed to be hitting.
Right. And then, hey, if you could work your way through this bucket list experience too, then look at scenarios and situations and expand there. But this brings me to butt stuff. Butt stuff has been very, very popular on our podcast. You dirty motherfuckers.
Good job, you guys.
This year, you guys.
Way to expand.
Yeah, our listeners this year have made me proud. Looking at where we get our downloads, our biggest downloads, you guys make me proud. You are my people. So butt stuff was very popular. Definitely. And I know vanilla folks, I know for a fact that you all, and yeah, butt stuff can be everything from vanilla to kinky as fuck. So if you are vanilla and you've kind of been wanting to at least see what the butt stuff is about, this is something you're going to have to take time with, and you are going to really have to give it more than one chance. And you need to research before you do. You don't just shove a cock up your ass.
No, you really shouldn't. That's how you get injured and in the emergency room.
Yeah. No.
Don't recommend. 0 star.
That is not going to, that's going to scare them away. No, but there are...
But no, caution should be always emphasized. Safety.
You could start with a pinky.
Yes. Or get a tiny butt plug.
Not so tiny that it slips up there.
Yes,
though.
not.
No, that's an actual thing, though.
You're doing that as well.
All right, so listen, we're going to give you some quick tips, and then you got to go back and listen to the first of all, I would suggest just start with if your partner is interested. In fact, I would say the birth of my fun with butt stuff was, my partner I was sitting on their face, and then of course they were like checking out my beautiful ass and clearly wanting to, and it just started with like sort of circling the hole. But kind of starting there and then very slowly using lube to kind of slip the tip of the finger, not the dick. But I think Lucy is right. One of the next steps, once you've started to experience the finger, and you've got to relax, guys, right? When the finger starts to go in the hole, do not clench up. This is where you're like, open
Yoga
up
breaths.
and like let it come in and feel the pleasure, because you will feel the pleasure if you let yourself. But then the next thing would be to get graduated butt plugs. And the most important thing with any butt stuff, anything you're putting in your butt, is that there's always what do they call for the base? It's basically the base of the butt plug that stays on the outside needs to be good and wide. It first, preferably with nice rounded edges, because otherwise it kind of hurts.
Yeah, the metal jeweled ones, don't do those.
They
That's
hurt.
Awful. Why would? Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty, but they're
purely decorative,
and they start to like dig in. But it makes it easier to pull out. It makes it more comfortable. It takes away the stress of what if that goes all the way up my butt, which it shouldn't. Don't just go shoving stuff in there. No. You're slipping it in slowly over time.
With lots of lube.
Lots of lube while someone's hopefully stroking your clit or your cock. And it's very lovely. Remember, lots of lube. And so you can get these in graduated sizes. And it can actually be quite easy. I love glass. My favorite ones are glass. I like slippery and cold. I like the cold feeling going in. It very quickly warms to body temperature. That's my favorite. Do you have a favorite?
I like because we have the Bad Dragon ones that are really nice. So I like those, and that are a little longer on the stem, and so it's kind of easier to maneuver. I find.
Yeah, and there are some that are actually softer. I use glass, but there are some that are like squishier. You might want to start with.
Definitely start with the squishier ones because then there's more give.
More give. Then you can do a little clinchy when you get nervous. And then from there, you can work up to trying anal sex. But when you do that, first of all, condom on. Don't you think? No. Well, if you don't use a condom when the dick goes in your butt, it needs to be washed before it goes in a vagina.
Else, yeah.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Right. Anywhere else. Like washed right after.
Yeah. Even touching, and then touch your eye. That's how you get pink eye. Don't do
Jesus
it.
Christ! Hadn't even thought of that.
No, those are bacteria.
Yeah, we got to give you the warning stuff for advanced butt play folks. Or do we have some ideas for people who've been shoving shit up their ass for years?
I mean, I feel like they probably got it.
They probably got it.
Have you pegged the patriarchy?
Oh yeah, pegged. Getting pegging. So if you've been playing, if you're in the mid-range and you've been wearing cute little butt plugs and stuff like that, and you've done some dick in the butt, maybe it's time to switch things up.
Yeah, go the other way.
Peg your person. I mean,
there's a podcast about that as well.
There is a podcast about that as well. Please listen.
Yeah.
But I'm daring you all. I'm double dare. I'm not daring you. I am putting it on your bucket list. Try some butt stuff this year. We have given you everything from like basic entry level to, those of you who are advanced, I'm sorry. But so what I would say is you can knock a lot of stuff out here. You can add the butt play into the spanking. So your guy, let's say you're pretty vanilla and you've not done a lot. You've been trying the spanking for a week or two. You're like, maybe I like it. And turn it into like, get over the knee, spank, and then like start circling the butthole with your finger. There you go. You can put all these together. You could kill two birds with one stone.
With one butt plug.
With one butt plug. I like it. We are going to move on. Now we're going to kind of really up things. And this is not necessarily a couple thing. It could be for couples. It could be for a single person. I want you all, because I know even if you've been married for a long time, it's crossed your mind. We're going to start talking about threesomes, right?
We also did a podcast
we did do
as well.
Absolutely, we have. If you are a couple and you are secure in your relationship, you can put playing with this idea, dipping your toe in the water on the list. If you are a couple who is not in a secure place in your relationship or having a hard time, I'm going to tell you to set this one aside. We'll talk about it next year because I do think that that's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But certainly I've got some ideas for couples who've been together. And even if one is like, there's still fear around another, because it's very, very normal about having another person come in to play. But a threesome doesn't even have to start with sex. It could start with like
lunch.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to say that, but go ahead. Go.
Well, I mean, you probably should vet your third person, or you as a single individual should vet your couple. Go to a lunch, see how they interact with each other. Is it a worthy endeavor for you? Like, are they nice to each other? Do you want to hang out with them in real life? First before you go into the bedroom with these people. Either direction for sure is very important because you have to. Unless you're in like a sex club and it's just like a one-time bang situation.
Which is not a bad idea. But I love that you say this. So for people who have kind of played with the idea in the fantasy realm, a good place to start is just maybe online dating and trying to find a single person and seeing how it feels when you match with someone and start to have conversations. You could even start in just a three-way chat.
For sure.
And is it fun and sexy? What does it bring up? And then the next step would be, go going out on a date, you don't even, you never have to get to anything else. Let's say you go out on the date and one of you is like, yeah, it's just a hard no for me. It wasn't exciting. This was more anxiety inducing and I don't want it. But you've still tried it. You've still gone on a date with someone together. That is a big deal. And then for the rest of you who move on, that next step could be just getting together, maybe kissing a little or holding hands. Like, you don't have to start taking off clothes and putting dicks and pussies in places you're not ready to.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely take it slow, especially if you wish to kind of keep the companionship going. But if you are graduated and you are just at a sex club and there's a couple that you saw that seemed awesome sauce, or one individual that you thought was really fun. I mean, we've done that.
We have done that.
Yes.
A couple times.
You can also do that. I don't know, if you get their number for later and you had a lovely time, great. And if you did not have that great a time, then you never have to see them again, which is also great.
Yeah, I feel like for those of you who are like, we want to do this, but we don't want to have trouble in our life, there are a couple of options. Go to a sex club and have your one-time experience. You don't have to exchange names. Use protection. I know you're out there going, what about safety? What about safety? Come on.
It should be common sense.
Hopefully, if you've been here on this podcast long enough, I'm assuming you know about how to have safe sex. Relatively so.
Right.
And you also know that there are certain risks with any sex, right? Just to cover our bases in what we're saying. The other option is find a sex worker. Find a sex worker and invite them in. Then you've got someone that you know is only going to be there when you want them to. And I mean,
who's also a professional.
Who's a professional, who understands professional boundaries, who understands how to balance everybody's pleasure and everybody's comfort. When you pay for that kind of service, you are going to get top tier threesome experience. So pay a sex worker. These women are hard workers. They have high standards for themselves. And why wouldn't you want a professional if you have some insecurity in your relationship? Why would you take a risk with it when you can pay some extra money and have someone come and know that you're in good hands? So that would be my other suggestion. But anyways, from vanilla to, if you're an advanced threesome person, I just challenge you to mix it up. Like, if you've been doing female, female, male, maybe it's time to try 2 men and a woman. Maybe it's time to try, if you're a guy, maybe it's time to try, a different gender setup. You can do everything from male, male, female to male, male, male to they, them, female. There are so many different genders of people out there now that bring different sexual experiences to the table. It's so exciting. It's a whole different world now that people are learning how to embrace their true gender and have sex in ways that are pleasurable and serve their body and their identity. This really brings a varied experience to the threesome and group sex table. So I guess that would be the other thing. If you're advanced in the whole threesome thing, maybe like dive into an orgy, swim around.
Foursome, fivesome.
Foursome, fivesome, whatever.
Sixsome. I feel like, at that point it's an orgy.
Yep.
Invite more friends to join your fun.
Right. So we just gave you a whole, you want to get sexy, spicy this year? We just gave you a vast array of dipping your toe into, to diving into the threesome experience.
And you can also obviously integrate the dirty talking and the spanking and the pegging and the plugs and all the other things we just talked about before.
All right. So the next one that I would like to talk about is age play. Now, this is an interesting, for me, it's within boundaries. But I think that the daddy and mommy play fall into it.
I believe you. It is so not my jam.
You're like, I'm not willing. But I mean, it is a little bit, if you're like bad boy, that suggests an age difference, right?
Sure.
I mean, I would say for a vanilla person,
Right.
that we're dipping our toe in the water by calling someone daddy or mommy or good girl
Right.
or bad boy. That is definitely dipping the toe into the water.
I see
Now, again, we're going to talk about how that can...
That's where all the dirty talking comes in.
I mean, if you're going to do dirty little schoolgirl play,
True.
I mean, which you just brought up, that's age play.
I guess a little.
So you get a little schoolgirl skirt and you've got a teacher. It is age play.
You're right.
It is. Look, Lucy just learned something from me. Might be a first. Yes. Oh, wow, you really aren't going to own that one.
I mean, that was the suggestion. I have never done the schoolgirl thing, but I have definitely done the maid. Because that is my favorite. Because yet again, I'm not super into age play. Even though you were saying like bad boy, I actually never use that. I always
What do you
say
use?
good little slave. It's usually a slave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And of course it is. Of course it's a slave for her.
Well, of course. Have you met me? Slaves.
Yeah, slaves. All right. Well, so
My dedicated little sluts.
oh, well, there you go. We're going to get to that. I have definitely I've used the term daddy plentifully in my life. Yeah. But I don't know if go back, there is an age play podcast. So for those of you who've really done that and you're like, yeah, well, I want to go deeper. I want to encourage you to listen to the age play podcast because my guest, who was the professional disciplinarian, Miss Chris, did a really good job of explaining it, dissolving the myths around it, and then talking about how, and oftentimes sex isn't even involved, which is interesting to me. But anyways, so if you're someone who's been doing some daddy little girl or mommy little boy play, but you've been kind of doing it at that like dip your toe in the water level, like I always have, then, and you want to start to dive deeper, you're going to want to go listen to that podcast because there are props you can get. There are ways that you can actually sort of find your age and start aging down and up or whatever. So for advanced age players, that is the podcast to listen to. For vanilla folks, just like in the middle of sex, clear it ahead of time, maybe, you know, say, that feels so good, daddy.
No. But I mean, try it out.
Try it out.
Let us know.
I mean,
What do you think?
yeah, I've given certain things a try and I've been like, but I found it out. I didn't just assume. And then other things, I'm like, fuck yeah. So
There you go.
give age play. It's kind of some role playing, so on and so forth. So maybe that's what we move into next. I struggle with role play, but I do think it's something worth investing some time and effort into because it really is. Sex can be this fantasy world, and you're very well versed at it.
Why, thank you.
What would you say for someone like me who's like I kind of want to, you know, I want to give it more of a try. I am definitely new to it. Where should I start that could start comfortably?
I think going on a date, but as a different person, would be like a good way to start.
Ooh,
So
I like
instead,
that.
it's the beginning starting procedure, I guess. You would obviously pick a companion or whoever you're going on a date with, and then you just assign each other roles, whatever you want to do, be it today I want to participate as a spy or a femme fatale. But yes, you can assign each other a role, and if you're not really sure, you can just kind of act out one from one of the smutty books that we will recommend you a list of. And you can even go through like a little, if at some point I am sure that some of the smutty books have a date in them, you can just kind of role play that if you don't know anything else.
All right. That's a great idea. Everybody can do that. Absolutely. Everybody can make that a sexy assignment for this year. That can go on your sex bucket list for sure. A role play date. How fucking fun is that?
And also take an improv class. I feel like that really helps.
Oh, acting class could enhance your sex life. Well, there you go. That's for the advanced role player. Like, up your fucking game. Take an acting class. Well, there you go.
Especially improv, it's just that way you can improvise more, which will help with the dirty talking and other ideas you can come up with. And then you can just walk into a situation with much more confidence instead of not.
So this rings all back to the sexual confidence. I mean, ultimately, in the end, the sex bucket list is going to build your sex confidence, period. Even just by trying these things at the 101 level we're giving you, it's going to build your sexual confidence. Knowing you've tried all of these things, knowing that you've dipped your toe in the water at whatever level is acceptable to you, you'll be able to speak to them and know what lights you up and what really, really, really turns you off. The next one I want to jump into is, and bear with me, because I know a lot of you are going to hear this and you'll be like, I saw that you had that podcast, not into it, but bear with me. Dipping your toe in the waters of playing with the humiliation kink, which is a little bit of what was exactly kind of what you were talking about. And I know that just the word humiliation, I feel like people shy away from that. But I think most of us already are doing this at some level. Most people at some point have had their partner call them a dirty little slut or something like that. But if you have not yet done that, my vanilla listeners, we're going to give you a dip your toe in the water and then graduate up the scale to where you're just like, okay, this is as far as I can go.
I feel like yet again, we're coming back to the dirty talking and the ideas you can get from different smut books where you can dip the toe and calling your companion like a dirty little slut.
And if slut is too harsh of a word, so words, this all comes to words. It can be you dirty little woman, if you don't want to say girl, or you dirty little hussy, or you start at a level where it's like it doesn't trigger something. If your companion is a male or a person, you can find those gender neutral terms, or you dirty fucking man, you whatever it is, right? If swear words are uncomfortable, you don't have to throw them in, but plan out the words and then just give them a try.
Yet again, smutty books help with this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is the beginning of humiliation play. It's the beginning of humiliation play is the talking part of it, right?
And then you can graduate to the licking of shoes and other slave type.
So why don't you say, all right, so now for people who are like, okay, I already say all the dirty, humiliating stuff. What is the next level, Lucy?
Next level will be using, as we were talking about, your companion's furniture. Having them serve you drinks. And then if you are deciding that they are not doing it correctly, you can upend the tray that the drink came on, make sure it's on glass. You can do kind of like think like a queen, and your servant has displeased you immensely.
Yeah, you can put them in the corner on their knees, naked.
Over ice, which is even more painful.
Over ice, I mean...
Rice.
Oh, rice.
What
Jesus.
Ice will be cold. Rice will be ouchy.
All right, yeah. Well, again, 101 to...
11.
Yeah. So humiliation play can then go into the realm of literally...
the humiliation itself.
Yeah, the humiliation itself, where it's really putting someone in the corner, or hey, it can graduate all the way up to golden showers, peeing on someone. We do have a podcast on that as well. And speaking of, if you are like, oh yeah, okay, I'm ready to throw like some golden showers into my humiliation play. 101, start in the shower. You're both taking a shower together. Pee on each other. 101. I would say if, you know, this is new to you, you're putting it on your sex bucket list for the year, start with the dirty talk. Been doing it for a while, go piss on your partner. I double dog dare you. Let me know how that goes. Get some sport sheets for that, though, because also clean up. Got tips. Listen to the podcast.
Right.
And this brings me then to my favorite, the praise kink. Try out the praise kink. Mm-hmm. Is this something?
I don't do it as much.
All right.
But also I do tell my companions that they're awesome and amazing.
But they praise you. They worship your pussy. They worship your body. I mean, cock worship goes into the praise kink. Being worshipped as a goddess, being called a good girl, being told you've done very well at a task, whether that's giving head or
doing the dishes.
She likes chores done.
It is one of my favorite activities. I enjoy watching chores being done when I'm not doing them.
Do you ever masturbate while this is happening? Because it does really seem to be something you love.
A little, yes.
Yes, I am.
Another masturbation thing you can do, if that is a thing you enjoy watching. It doesn't have to be erotic. You just have to decide it's erotic to you.
Yeah. There you go. While your partner's washing dishes, you can masturbate and praise them. You just knocked out 3 things, folks.
Bam.
Just like that. Yeah. So the praise kink is a real thing. And we did such a good podcast on that. My guest was Lisa Finn, the marketing director for Babeland. Sex toys, I really encourage you to listen to it because you may have that kink and not even know, understand how strong it is within you. I definitely realized it was an epiphany, that conversation for me. I hadn't even heard of the praise kink. But this is something especially that could be very comfortable to people who are more in the vanilla realm, but also really intensify that kink if you're doing impact play. Understanding that your partner has a praise kink can really take impact play to the next level. I realized the joy I get out of a lot of impact play and stuff that may mix pleasure and pain comes from the being praised for my performance. Mm-hmm. Also, just generally sexually praise me and I get a little wet. Also, just generally praise me and I get a little wet. I did not realize I get sexual pleasure from it. And
it's really good confidence builder as well. We are, as you know, it seems like, especially for women, you're never enough. And you're always kind of not being praised. In fact, you're like, oh, you're so-and-so and not good enough in jobs and house chores. And also because we have been perpetuated with our fabulous patriarchal society. It really should be matriarchal now. Right. How we are just not quite good enough. And I think a lot of women would probably really enjoy just somebody saying to them a lot that they're amazing and beautiful and are doing such a good job and working so hard. And you know, all that is great.
It fills a love cup. It fills a love cup. And
sexual confidence, it will be coming to you.
It will be coming to you.
If you are being praised by someone much faster.
Yeah. So if you are really working on your sexual confidence this year, move praise kink to the top of your sex bucket list. Now, how do you do that when you're alone?
You stand by a mirror and tell yourself you're amazing.
Yes.
Also get some friends that do that for you, because I feel like I genuinely try to do that for all the women I interact with, because they are amazing, and I feel like we are not told that enough.
She told me I was beautiful just the other day.
I tell you, you're beautiful all the time.
You do. You do. I get a lot of praise from Lucy. Yes.
Feeding that kink. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Also, I'm going to share a little secret. I've been doing this lately, and it is boosting the fuck out of my sexual confidence. And I think it goes along with the praise kink in a self-love situation. I have been videoing myself masturbating and taking pictures of myself while I'm having sex with myself and watching them and listening to them. And I had, like, at first it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. I was not in a good place. I was feeling very self-critical. It was hard to watch. It was hard to look at. And through my own, like I told you, I'm really building a self-love practice. It was just the other day, I watched them back. I watched them back more than once or twice. And I recognized that I was like getting turned on by my own sounds. And I was like, also, oh, Annette, you've got a beautiful pussy. I've got a beautiful pussy. I'm like, seriously, she's made of gold. No, but really, I think that we don't look at ourselves enough, and we definitely don't, like, if we're not feeling confident or we're down, or even just like the average woman, we're so self-critical, and we're always looking at other women in, like, whenever, if we're looking at pornography or sexy people on the movies that don't look like us. And so it's hard to look at our real selves who don't ever look like those people, and not feel less than. And by consuming your own media, by taking photos of yourself, by videoing yourself, by listening to your own sounds and getting used to them. And not only that, like, suddenly it took me a little while. Pretty soon I was like, oh, it's so hot. I am hot. Like, God, that's sexy. I love that sound. And that very quickly started building my confidences. And so I want to challenge you on your bucket list. And I'd love you all to move this one to the top. This year, you can erase them right after if you're worried about it. They're going to end up on the internet. Don't send them to anyone if you're worried about that.
Yeah, don't put them to the cloud either. Don't put
them to the cloud.
Yes,
it's just not a good idea. No. Start taking photos of yourself in sexy situations. Videotape yourself masturbating. Do it. I dare you. You can erase it right away. I suggest you save it and rewatch it. Things that can help you feel better about it. Get a nice little tripod so you can position it. You can position your body in ways that are attractive. Get a ring light. Nice lighting so it's not like all dark and shadowed down there. I'm telling you, a pussy looks good in some bright light. I want to add that into the praise kink, especially if you're alone. It's, if you have a partner, again, you can have them do all of this for you. But one thing I want to warn you against is needing the praise to come from someone else. Remember, sexy is an inside job. Own some of this and do it for yourself. So if that partner should go away, that feeling and that assuredness doesn't go with them because it's not theirs. The magic is not theirs. They help spark it, but it's yours, right? I think we might as well just dive into, like, for our caged folks out there, I think we're at that point. We have gone through a lot of other things, but I know that all of you are waiting. So first of all, we have a lot of content on here about kind of overarching content about male chastity, and how to dip your toe in the water. So we're just going to give you, for some of you, maybe in the more vanilla realm, we're going to give you some quick starters. And then we are going to move into some sexy assignments this year for them from Lucy. Okay. For those special listeners, you have assignments and they need to be done this year.
For our vanilla listeners,
how could they just play in the realm of chastity? It probably sounds overwhelming to them. How could they at least experience it, even though they may not be ready to, like, fully lock a cock?
I mean, permission would be the first one to go, I would say. So just assign your companion, obviously, that they are now the owner of your cock and they are the only ones who are allowed to touch it. And you can do it for just the duration of your game that you're playing, sexy time game. So you're having sex. And just for that specific time, you're like, you are not allowed to touch your cock. And that would be the starter, I think, pack.
Mm-hmm.
And just if they try to, you can be sitting on their face and they are trying to touch their cock stimulating, you can grab one of those fabulous canes you had from the spanking situation and hit their hand gently.
Yeah.
Because it's yours. It's your cock.
But if you don't have a cane, you can just slap it.
You could just slap it as well. It's a little harder because you're sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They may not have a cane.
That's true.
But you get it.
Just slap it with your hand.
Lucy is trying to reel herself back to like what it was like to be vanilla. What? Oh yeah, okay. So maybe you don't have a cane sitting around. A ruler.
Weird.
Rulers are in the house.
There you go.
Look
a
at
spatula.
me. Spatula.
Ta-da.
You definitely
Something with
have
reach.
A little reach to it. Yeah. Yeah. So start with just permission, folks. And then from there, you can work up to looking at some cages. There are cages that don't even truly lock that you just put over the cock. You could start there and then work up if that's fun.
Yeah.
You know?
And then to the people who are graduating, you can get them custom made and make them get a Prince Albert piercing and then attach them directly to the penis.
Yeah.
And then take the key with you. Walk away. Come back in a week. And while you're doing that, you can use your companion's face, toys, other cocks in the threesome situation. You can just have them sit there and watch you have sex with your other companion.
Cuckolding?
Cuckolding, yeah. Yes, so those would be the very advanced versions. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I feel like our Cocks in a Cage, we did like a to-do list. So you can grab some ideas from there.
Yeah, you would head back to Locktober. In October, we gave you a fantastic list of things to do during Locktober.
And you can do any of those. Mm-hmm. And
well, how about for our caged listener, let's give them
a couple.
Yeah, a couple that they need to do this year.
Mm-hmm. Since we already have a threesome situation that we are suggesting they should check out, I think the cuckolding one should be one of the things that they should try. If you're in a good companionship with a person you're secure with, and you found that third person, maybe that can be one of your assignments. You have your cock locked, and somebody else is servicing you instead of the cock.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about for our single? Because I know that we have some caged listeners out there that don't have partners. What are some things that we can do this year to get them on their way?
Go a full day with the cage on in public.
Keeping it on a full day. Start with a full day once a week for a month to start.
Yeah.
And if after that you're like, it's too much,
dial down. If it's not enough, dial up.
Yep.
It's very personal. So whichever one you have to be comfortable with the situation. So do what is the most comfortable, but also challenge yourself. Don't just go out to the grocery shop and then.
This should be like you're going out with friends all day. Like it's a day of really going out.
For sure. I mean, work can be a thing, but also be mindful that depending where you work.
Don't get fired and blame it on me.
Yes, do not get fired. Don't do that. That's not a good idea.
For this year's assignment, lose your job because we told you to put your junk in a cage at work.
Yes, don't do that. If your job allows for such a situation, try it one day. See how that feels.
And slowly work up to a week.
And slowly work up to October, which you can participate in all October.
That's right. Because I have a feeling that this October, Lucy and I are going to be bringing on some really good chastity play.
More chastity.
Yes. Maybe we'll give prizes to the caged folks that accomplish the most in October. So for our caged folks listening, our biggest assignment for you this year leading up to October is to go back and listen to the episodes and really prepare you need to have found a cage this year. You need to have found a cage.
A comfortable one. Mm-hmm. It does not injure anything.
And I'm going to say more than one. I think you should have a metal cage and you should have a silicone cage. Mm-hmm. So, and be fully prepared with all of the equipment by the time we hit October. So that's your assignment. You got to have worked up to being able to have your cage on at least for a week. Start with going out in public and then graduate to a week with the cage on and get everything you need to be able to handle October with us. Okay. Now I'm going to throw in some fun extras. We brought up cuckolding. Mm-hmm. So for people who aren't like yet into chastity, but you think it might be, you know, I know there are a lot of couples out there where the guy feels uncomfortable with admitting it, but kind of gets off on watching the idea of watching his partner, typically a vulva owner, fuck around with another guy. Dip your toe in the water. Again, you can do it the same way you do it with the threesomes, right? You can either try and find a third person to go on a date with. You can go to a sex club and let her just make out with another dude. That is an easy fucking quick way to start. Like just go and there's going to be some guy there. I promise you. You are going to find someone there who is going to let her kiss him. So dip the toe in the water with that. For those of you, this is a step outside of the humiliation play. We had a podcast on cock and ball torture. I would love to throw this on your bucket list for the year. If you are someone with a penis or you are someone who is with someone with a penis, you can dip your toe in the water with cock and ball torture. And I know in your mind, you're like, how the fuck am I going to do that? And start by threatening a cock. That was my favorite part of that whole podcast because I'm like, I could do that. Threaten a cock. How do you threaten a cock?
You tell the cock and ball owner that you are going to, I feel like showers is a good way. As you wash them, you can grab them a little harder and say, if you so-and-so, I will smack these balls.
Mm-hmm. I like to smack a dick. I'm not going to lie. I've smacked a dick several times.
Yeah, many.
Yeah. I mean, and like, again, I don't just like haul off and smack dicks without,
consent.
And, I'm careful about it, but it can be really fun. And you can even start with some cock and ball torture with just lightly slapping, almost brushing, and then work up and be really kind of like, get a little meaner. You can also threaten a cock just with your words. I want everyone out there to threaten one cock this year. I want that
for us.
I want that on the top of, I want every vulva owner to threaten a cock this year. And look, to my cock owners, don't take it personally. I just think it's going to be empowering for the vulva owners out there. I want every vulva owner out there to threaten a cock this year. That is going to be at the top of your sex bucket list. You're welcome. Then report back. Mm-hmm. I feel like we have put together an amazing 2024 sex bucket list. We have everything from sex talk to masturbation, all the way up to cock cages and BDSM. We have given you literally vanilla options for all of them. And if you go down this list and just try at least all of them at the ground level, there is no doubt in my mind that by the time you get to the end of 2024, it's going to have changed your life. Mm-hmm. And you can do them once, or you can, some of them I specifically said you had to do more than once. But there are some you can just give a try. And I think you're going to find that there are a lot of things that you're interested in. There are a lot of ways to really spice up your sex life. Your sex life does not have to be dull and boring, no matter where you are in your sexual adventure.
Absolutely.
So
I think some of the other honorable mentions would be, remember all your toys. If you're a vanilla person who have never tried one, you should at least buy one and try it. At least one.
Yes. And
Choose
I
better.
have tons of articles on that. I am doing, head over to my YouTube channel, Annette Benedetti. I'm doing sex toy reviews there. You will really get the lowdown. Also, Masturbation Monday, I am using different toys and I'm telling you all about them and how I'm using them. So tune into that because that's going to give you a really good rundown on what toys work best for what situations. So.
Okay, an honorable mention will be bondage, I would say. So you don't
Believe
have.
we didn't put that on the bucket list.
Well, it's part of the
Implied.
kinky situation. So, but yes, remember bondage. It's really fun, and you don't need anything special or fancy. You can have a scarf, a tie, and just tie just the hands together, and don't let them touch that cock. It's versatile. It's a versatile activity. And let's see what else.
Or pussy. Again.
Oh. We were about threatening the cock, so
Okay, but
right.
you can also do bondages.
For
just a bucket list thing.
And for the lovely ladies, yet again, some of the ways you can praise yourself is go lingerie shopping. Go and find a shop and treat yourself to some pretty lingerie to get your sexual confidence as high as possible.
Listen to me. Go to lovehoney.com.
Or that.
Use my code Explores15, and you get all of their products, lingerie and all, sex toys and all, at 15% off. I have got a lot of discount codes for you to really good sex stores, sex shop stores. You should use them. You should not. My listeners should not be paying full price for their sex toys, for their lingerie, for their lube, for their body products. I'm talking candles and massage oils, wipes for your pussy after you've had sex, sprays to help keep your skin healthy. You don't have to pay full price for those, but you should definitely have toys. You should definitely be getting lingerie. Lovehoney.com, Explores15. It's actually very affordable. So you can get something if you're like, I don't like how this looks. It's not like you're out $100, right? Super important.
And I think the last honorable mention is, because one of my companions lives far away, video sex. Try that.
That was on my bucket list last year and I didn't do it.
Yeah, try that one. If your companion is out of town, you can engage in a little bit of FaceTime, fun, sexy time, and which also is the masturbation section. You can masturbate together via video, and that is also enhancing of your sexual pleasure and confidence.
I love it. All right, that is a full list. I will be writing up this full list and sending it to you. So you don't have to put it here or remember it all. But I will be doing that so you can kind of hang it up in your bedroom, mark them off as you get through them.
It's like an advent calendar.
It's totally an advent calendar. It's a yearly calendar. And we've had fun creating this bucket list resolution for you for 2024. I want you to know that we actually take it very seriously. I think it's important for everyone to have a healthy sex life, and everyone deserves more pleasure. And I know so many of us in our relationships, especially long-term relationships where things start to get difficult, is the sex life, keeping the sex life spicy and interesting and adventurous, keeping our libidos going. We all, as we get into long-term relationships, tend to experience a libido drop, and that can really hurt a relationship. I know I've experienced that a lot in my own personal life. For those of you who are single and really kind of going through a hard time, this is another way to power up your libido, your sexual confidence.
Love yourself first. You are the most important person in your life.
Absolutely.
You have to hang out with yourself 24/7, 365. Enjoy the company. Learn to enjoy your own company.
Right. And in 2024, all of my listeners, I really want you to truly experience more self-love, more self-confidence, more orgasms, more pleasure more pleasure, more pleasure, more pleasure, more orgasms. It's good for your health. It's good for your mind. It's good for your emotions. This podcast is designed to improve your life with a little bit of humor and a lot of gasps along the way, right? It seems shocking at times, but it's really just about the human experience. So I am hoping we'll get to the end of this year, or even along the way, that some of you will take this bucket list and you'll report back and let Lucy and I know what you've tried and what's worked for you, or give us suggestions for next year's bucket list, or give us suggestions for podcast episodes, because we're really wanting to answer your questions and help you out. And if we don't have the answers, we'll find them. We'll find them. We will do the work
down.
And we will get you reliable information, not just like something you pull off Google. God, when I pull up like spicy bucket lists, I'm just like, oh, God, really? Blindfold, like ice play, like we can like next level things. So, yeah, I think we kicked ass.
Yes, we did.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. You're such good little humans. Good job. You're doing lovely.
Good job. I just want you all to know we're very, very, very proud of you.
We are so proud. Good job.
Yeah. So until next time, I'll see you in the locker room. Cheers.